Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all good. I'm Leah for those of you who are new. So I've been getting a lot of questions about our latest renovation and I thought why not just do a little Q&A, just a chilled out Q&A. So I asked for you guys to send me questions over on my Instagram. So I just thought we could go through all of the questions and hopefully you guys will pick up some tips and you'll have your questions answered. Right, so the first question is, were you nervous doing a bigger renovation? Yeah, definitely. Like at first I was like, oh my God, like can we do this? Because our first renovation project was a 5-bed HMO and then this one is obviously an 8-bed HMO and we've converted it from an old office. So I was just like, this is just so different. And yeah, I guess it is nerve-wracking like taking a step up, but obviously if you want to progress then you have to like, you know, take these slow steps up. So yeah, I was definitely nervous, but we're all good. So next question, is there anything you do differently? Yeah, I definitely like bring more industrial stuff in. Like I wish we could have had like proper industrial caged windows that are kind of like this mirror but like on the window. So yeah, I definitely would do like more industrial stuff and I feel like I'd make things a little bit darker and like have more elements of black in there. I think that would look so cool. But I feel like for our next projects, that's definitely what we're gonna do. We're gonna make things a little bit more darker, a little bit more moody, so yeah. Were you on time with the schedule? We were at first, and then obviously we're in a pandemic, so things got held up a little bit, and yeah. And then also I mentioned in another video that the ground floor of the property took a lot longer than we expected it to. So I think up until that point, we were on schedule, and then when we got to the ground floor, it was just like, oh, like, this is gonna take longer than we thought, so yeah. But we did decent with the schedule, but you know, we are in the middle of a global pandemic, so that did slow things down. Someone said, do you use management? I don't know if you mean like a project manager or like a lettings manager, but no, we don't use either. So we don't have a project manager. It's mainly mom that takes on the role, and obviously I help out as well. And she like manages the project in terms of like buying things and making sure that things are all on schedule. And then no, we don't use a lettings manager. We prefer to keep everything in-house because yeah, we just do. Okay, so someone said, what's your favorite part of the renovation? Oh my God, I don't think I can pick like one thing. I really like the kitchen because I really like the fact that it's like very monochrome, like black and white. I love that. That is like totally my vibe. I love the brick slips, I love them. I love the concrete effect wall. So yeah, I guess those are my like favorite things. I also had a few people ask if we work with an interior designer, and no, we don't. It's literally just me and my auntie coming up with the ideas, and obviously mom helps out as well, but yeah, it's just mainly me and my auntie coming up with the different ideas. So yeah, no interior designer. And then someone also asked, do you use an architect? And no, we don't use an architect because they're still quite small projects, so an architect isn't really necessary. Like, we're not doing anything that would need an architect. And even in terms of like floor plans and changing things around and things like that, you can use a website called floorplanner.com to like move things around and plan things out. And then we also use this girl on a website called Upwork to help us like create floor plans as well, but she's not an architect. For like the type of project that we've just done, it's not really necessary to get an architect involved, like it's just not. How did you find reputable builders? We went through personal recommendations. So our builder actually did a loft conversion for my auntie, and then we were like, hey, do you want to work on our HMO? So he worked on the first HMO, and then obviously we brought him on for the second, and then for the next project that we do as well. So yeah, I definitely think getting personal recommendations from people that you trust is key, because I feel like if you just pick someone from online, it's like, how do you know what they're gonna be like? Yeah, so. And then next question, where's the best place to get furniture? So we literally get our furniture from here, there and everywhere. There's not like one place where we're like, okay, we buy all our furniture from here. Like we just get it from everywhere. Sometimes they're just small, like local independent retailers. But yeah, we really do just like look online and shop here, there and everywhere just to see like where we can find the best deals and things like that, and things that are obviously gonna be good quality. But I did do a video on my channel talking about where we buy like all the furniture from and where we got all the featurables from, so I'll make sure that I link it down below. Someone said, how do you finance renos? So we did work with an investor this time, and we literally just found them through networking. So just get out there, network, you never know who you might stumble across and find and build a relationship with. Okay, so I should have also said here that we did put down a deposit, and the deposit came from the refinance money from our first renovation project. Okay, so someone said, how do you make it look nice on a budget? So this really comes down to, again, like searching the internet to try and find the best deals. You never know where you might be able to get a discount and things like that. So like if you're buying things as like a property developer and you've got an actual company, then there is quite a few places that will offer you a discount, like a trade discount. So that definitely really helps to save money. But yeah, I think me and Mum were quite clear from the start that we wanted an industrial theme, so it was really easy to like pair things together in the industrial theme, if that makes sense. So if you've got a certain look that you want to go for, just try and find like cheap things that will go with that look, and then try and like match things together as well, so it just all just look like more put together, if that makes sense. So yeah. Next question, how do you come up with creative ideas? I definitely think Pinterest is a really good source of inspiration. I've been loving Pinterest lately. I try not to look at like people's social medias too much, because I feel like it's easy to be like influenced by them. So I think going forward, I definitely want to take my inspiration from like external sources, so from things like books, museums, art galleries, just so it's like completely different to what people are doing on social media. So yeah. But I think sometimes when you're a creative person, like if you've got an idea, just like go for it and see how it turns out. Just be brave, you know? So someone said, would you ever buy a new build or a house that didn't need work doing to it? Nah, I couldn't, you know? I feel like where's the fun in like buying a new build, if that makes sense? Like I feel like I really do just love the like renovation process and like the whole transformation process. So I feel like if you bought a new build, it would just be like, oh, like it's done, like what more is there to do? So yeah, renovations is definitely something I love, so I'd always want to do a renovation project. And I'm not gonna lie, and no offense if you do have a new build house, but I do find them a little bit boring. Like I feel like they all just kind of like look like each other, and they don't have like any character or anything that's like different about them. They all just kind of look the same. So yeah, I definitely prefer like the renovation process rather than like a pretty house that's already done, if that makes sense. So someone also said, would you do another project like this? Yeah, 100%. Like I'd love to. I feel like it's such a rewarding thing, and like I was looking at like the before photos this morning, and I was just like, as if that is the same property, like that's the same space. It's like really weird. Like I just can't actually believe the transformation of that place. Like I'm still shook like thinking about it. So yeah, 100% I'd love to do another project like this. I mean, it was definitely a lot of work because it was like a major renovation, but 100% I'd love to do it again. I'm like waiting for the next one now. I'm just like, I just want to get into it, do you know what I mean? So yeah, I definitely love doing it. So yeah. So someone said, was it easy to get planning permission? So it took us around 8 weeks to get planning permission, and I wouldn't say it was too bad. I wouldn't say it was easy, because like it wasn't easy, that's just like not the word I'd use for it, but it wasn't too bad. There was just like a lot of back and forth, I'd say, like back and forth with the planning consultant, the planning office and things like that. But yeah, it took about 8 weeks to get planning permission. I think in total we had about 3 objections that came up, and then we just went back on them and they were like, okay, that's fine. So yeah, but there was nothing like major, so yeah. But one thing that really helped us, and the reason that we were quite confident that we would get planning permission, was that the property next door used to be a pub, and then that had been converted into apartments. So we were like, okay, if they did something like that there, then surely they'll let us do it. So yeah. So next question, was there anything you were worried about? Yeah, 100%. Like I was worried, like once we'd finished the project, I was thinking like, what if no one actually likes it? Like what if no one likes it and we don't like let the rooms out, or like what if only 4 of the rooms end up getting let out? I was just like, oh, like I don't know if people are gonna like it. And I don't know why I was thinking that. I don't know, because you put so much time and money and effort into it, and it's like, what if people just don't like it? So yeah, I was definitely really nervous. That was my main concern. The second project was definitely a real big step up from the first one, like not even just in terms of size, just in terms of like the interior decisions that we made. So I was worried that like it wouldn't all look put together in a way. I was like, is this just gonna look rubbish? And we were using things like brick slips, which are pricey. So I was just like, oh, I hope you don't get like brick slips fitted and then the rest of it looks rubbish, do you know what I mean? So yeah, I was quite worried about that. But yeah, those were my main concerns. Right, next question. How long did it take to find tenants? So we actually managed to get some of the rooms done and get some of the photos done early so that we could start advertising. So by the time the property was finished, we'd already been advertising for like a few weeks. But from the time the property was like finished, it took about 2 weeks to get tenants all agreed. We had a few people like drop out and say they didn't want to do it after they paid their deposit and things like that. And then we just managed to find new people. So yeah, it took about 2 weeks. So not bad, not bad. I feel like that shows that I was just worrying for nothing, because like, what the hell, like 2 weeks, that's nothing. So yeah, so I think I touched on this before, but someone said, was there a specific part of the renovation that took much longer than you expected? And yeah, it was the ground floor, because the ground floor was in such bad condition. I mentioned it in a video that I did a few weeks ago about like the lessons learned on this project, but basically like the ground floor was in such bad condition and it was so damp, and Like literally halfway through the project, we had like a wall fall down that was like separating the 2 rooms. So it was definitely in a really bad condition and a lot worse than we had anticipated. So yeah, that did really slow things down, and yeah, it just wasn't good. So someone said, do you wish you had done more of the work yourself? I'll be honest, if I could renovate houses myself, like I see people do like DIY house renovations and I think it's so sick. So I definitely love to get involved like where I can and do my little bit. I don't think I'd be very good at it, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I don't really have like attention to detail when it comes to doing like practical things. Like even this mirror, I feel like there's so many things that I could have done like way better and a lot neater. So I don't think I'd be very good at it, but yeah, I definitely would love to like do like a DIY renovation, 100%. Yeah, I feel like I'd have to start on a project that wasn't such a wreck, I'll be honest. But yeah, I definitely would love to do like a DIY thing. Okay, so what was the biggest mistake you made? I feel like I want to say the ground floor again, but I said that about 3 times now, so let me say a different one. We made a few mistakes when it came to tradesmen. I did mention it in that lessons learned video, but yeah, we did make a few mistakes with tradesmen. Like we ended up getting this tiler in who was completely rubbish, and he was just a fraud, and yeah, he was just so bad. And I feel like as well we had another issue with another tradesman where we basically ended up getting in someone to do the exact same job that he did because he was falling behind on the work. And then that just caused more ag, more chaos, and yeah, it was just a bit of a pain. So yeah, I guess those were like the mistakes made. So someone said, what was the biggest lesson you learned? I feel like one of the biggest lessons that we've definitely learned now is until you've taken a property back to brick, you don't know what condition that property is in. Like it could be in a way worse condition than you ever thought. So that was definitely a really big lesson. Like we ended up having to get like a lot of reinforcement and a lot of support in, because once we took it back to brick, we were like, this is an absolute shambles. So yeah, definitely you don't know what you're dealing with until you've taken it all the way back. And then I guess this is more of like a personal lesson, but it's about like putting your foot down and like not settling. So like we had a building control man who was just taking the absolute mick with us basically, and I wish instead of like settling for what he said, I wish we'd have like challenged him and put our foot down and said, nah, like we actually think you're wrong. Whereas instead, I think because we thought, oh, it's building control, we were just like, oh, like that's what we have to do kind of thing, but he was actually in the wrong. So yeah, I definitely think going forward there's going to be no settling. We're just going to be putting our foot down and no one's going to take me for an idiot, period. So someone said, why don't you use carpets? It's because I feel like tenants, it's easier for them to like damage carpet than it is for like a wooden floor, for example. So if they spill like makeup, let's say for example, on a carpet, then the carpet is going to be ruined. Whereas if they spill foundation on a wooden floor, then you can easily just wipe it up. So yeah, 100%. So someone said, how do you budget renovations? So because this was such a major refurb and so much work needed doing, we just agreed an estimate with our builder. So he went round and he was like, okay, we think it's going to cost about this much. As like a general rule of thumb, when it comes to like a major renovation, and I will stress that this was a major renovation, you're looking at about 5k to 10k per bedroom for a HMO. But then obviously that will depend on like the spec and the finishes and things like that. If it's just like a cosmetic renovation, then you need to mainly focus on like the cost of the kitchens and the bathrooms and then just like general decorating. But yeah, when you're doing like a major renovation, then there is a lot of costs that you have to think about. So even things like the cost of getting a skip, new doors, new windows, which can obviously all add up. So someone said, how did you do social distancing on site? So when lockdown first got announced, this was like in the early stages of the renovation, and there was only really 3 main guys working on it, and one of them would only work weekends and the other 2 would work weekdays. And they were able, because it was a 3-story property, they were able to work on like different floors from each other. So it's not as if they were like on top of each other, but they were wearing masks and things like that all the way throughout. So yeah, it was fine. Okay guys, so that was all of the questions. Thank you so much for sending the questions in. If I do another Q&A, I'll always ask for the questions on Instagram, so make sure you follow me at Leah_Miller. But thank you guys so much for watching. Really appreciate it as always. Make sure you give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe. That would really help me out. But I'll see you next time. Bye.